I'm seeing you on. So I'm going to release you, tell you not go back to the incident location. If you are out of custody, you need to come to court on October 16th at 9 o'clock. If you are not, we will note that you're in the jail and we'll go from there. Okay?
Okay.
All right. That's it.
Okay.
What's your name?
Bert William Schweiss.
Right. Mr. Schweiss got another charge. It looks like from August 8th of this year, charging you with domestic violence, criminal damage. So I'll appoint Mr. Grinkowitz to represent you on this one. No contact with Veronica Schweiss, no return to her residence, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence, no guns, $1,000 bond, and I'm gonna leave it set for this Wednesday. Mr. Grinkowitz and the state may decide to put it off for a week while they work on all these cases, but otherwise I'll see you on Wednesday, okay? All right.
That's it.
Chief Andy.
Your Honor. Oscar Edgardo refused this court.
Oscar Zayat.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I think I'm just going to waive his presence and continue him to the next court date in city court then.
Texas.
Okay, thanks, officers.
That'll be.
What's your name?
Janis and Lopez.
Oh, okay, there's my PD, okay. This is, it looks like a warrant counsel.
Judge, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I believe she's an interpreter matter.
Oh, she is? She needs an interpreter? As
Yes,
in
yes.
Spanish? Oh, okay. Do I have an interpreter, you all? I think I do. No interpreter yet? Okay, let's save Miss Verona for a while if we can then, because we have another Spanish speaker too, right?
Your Honor, is
Upload.
Christine Roberts the interpreter? I don't think so. Christine Roberts is not the interpreter.
I thought
Good evening, Your Honor.
I missed Poston. How about Avarola? Is that the interpreter?
Yes, yeah, I have this.
Your Honor, I'm trying to reach the interpreter right now.
Ah, okay. All right, so we'll wait. Okay, so let me go through the rest of my misdemeanors while we wait, and we'll bring Ms. Arana back.
Sure.
Okay.
Come back to you.
Oops, thank you. Can I stop? I don't- Yeah, isn't that the interpreter? Yeah. Okay, well, we'll finish. Well, I'm not sure who this is. What's your name, sir?
Randolph Roberts.
Okay. Mr. Roberts, you are charged with domestic violence assault, domestic violence disorderly conduct. And hold on a sec. This is from Marana. So I'm going to appoint Janet Altschuler to represent you.
Will I have documentation with her name and contact?
Of course. And I am going to order you not to have any contact with Christine Roberts, not to return to her residence, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence. So actually, I'm not going to appoint Miss Altschuler now because I'm going to release you, and then the Judge Marana will decide whether to appoint.
Your Honor? Your Honor?
Hello, Your Honor.
Yes.
This is Christine Roberts. I
Okay.
was told that I could speak on behalf of my husband.
You can speak on behalf of yourself. And you can tell me whether or not you want contact, because my understanding was that that might not be a good idea.
I would like him to be able to come back into the home.
All right. And you would like contact with him?
Yes, please.
All right. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence. October 16th at 10 o'clock, Mr. Roberts, is when you need to come back to court.
And which court is that?
Marana City Court, sir.
And do I have counsel appointed?
No, you do not. Then the judge in Marana will decide whether or not you're entitled to counsel. Since you're not staying in custody, I don't make that decision today.
Okay, October 16th, 10 a.m.
So get your paperwork, sir.
Okay,
Is my husband being released tonight?
He is being released, and I suggest really strongly, ma'am, that you contact Emerge. They have a hotline number just to talk. I think it would be a really good idea in your case, okay? All right,
Okay,
that's
I will
it.
do that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Jocelyn Lopez.
All right, you're charged with domestic violence, assault, domestic violence, disorderly conduct. I am going to order you not to have any contact with Bryce Groen, not return to his residence, no acts of domestic violence. And your next court date will be in Justice Court on October 16th at 10:30. If you don't appear, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, then you're released. Oops.
Jones,
So now we have an interpreter,
we have an interpreter.
but let's do the misdemeanor, the one misdemeanor who needs an interpreter. So let's do that. We can do those until we get the public defender back.
We want all of those, I guess, was the misdemeanors. Yeah.
Yeah.
We-
Okay. Oh, you're around. So we can do whatever you guys want then.
So if we don't have all of those, then we can start.
Yeah, we could go back to Miss Arana. Is that what you're saying?
Is that okay? Okay, Mr. Rana? Sure.
All right, so Miss Arana, I have a warrant for your arrest out of Santa Cruz County.
Bueno, señorita Rana, aquí tengo una orden de arresto de condado de Santa Cruz.
And got $1,000 bond. Counsel, I think that's reasonable considering she has another hold.
Bueno, tiene una fianza de $1,000. Licenciado, ¿considera esa cantidad como algo apropiado, como ella tiene allá una orden de retención?
Judge, Mr. Interpreter, can you please ask her what happened at sentencing today? I see that she was sentenced in Superior Court today.
Bueno, señorita, ¿qué sucedió cuando le impusieron la pena buena en el Tribunal Superior?
Me soltaron, bueno, me dijeron que me iba a salir con 3 años de probation.
They told me that I was going to get 3 years of probation.
Okay, so Judge, I think, and did you get more jail time or were you released on the felony today?
Bueno, entonces, ¿le dieron más tiempo de encarcelamiento o la dejaron libre ahí en ese delito?
Pues, en el papel está la fecha y la fecha dice que ahora no me dieron tiempo en cárcel.
Was there on the paper that says on the date, and they said that they didn't give any more jail time.
And that is correct, Your Honor. I see that no extra jail time was ordered, so I believe she was released on the felony. So given that that's the case, we would be requesting release and I'll give her paperwork instructing her to go to Santa Cruz County.
Bueno, parece ser cierto, así lo que dice el papel. Entonces yo pido, como la dejaron libre, en el delito grave, yo pido que la dejaron libre también con este delito y que le den la oportunidad a que vuelva al condado de Santa Cruz.
O sea, que si salgo, tengo que ir al condado de Santa Cruz.
So does it mean I'm going to have to go to Santa Cruz County?
Yeah.
Right, as soon as you get out, report to probation and then make sure your TO knows that you're going to Santa Cruz County to take care of this warrant.
Y una vez que salga el libro, que se reporte con libertad de prueba, infórmele a su agente o a su oficial que que la andan buscando ahí en el condado de Santa Cruz y se tiene que ir para allá.
So I'm going to release you, ma'am, to pretrial services. So you also have to report to them when you get out of custody.
Bueno, señorita, la voy a dejar libre, pero también tiene que reportarse con servicios previos a juicios una vez que salga de la cárcel.
I want you to
Okay, so
wait. I want you to report to your probation officer tomorrow morning.
Quiero que se reporte con la agente de libertad de prueba mañana por la mañana.
And then I want you to report to Santa Cruz County by Friday, September 20th.
Y quiero que se reporte con el condado de Santa Cruz este viernes, el día 20 de septiembre.
And your probation officer may be able to help you. Like, he might be able to say you can call and get a date there, but you need to take care of this or you're going to get your probation revoked.
Bueno, y tal vez su agente de libertad de prueba le puede decir que necesita llamarle ahí para revisarles eso, pero no puede esquivarse de esto porque si no, no quiere que se le revoque la libertad de prueba.
So this case won't have another court date here because it's not in this county, but you need to keep your
Right.
probation officer informed of what you're doing on it.
Bueno, usted ya no va a tener casos aquí en este condado porque se trata de otro condado, pero tiene que mantener informado a su agente de libertad de prueba de todo lo que está sucediendo con el otro caso en Santa Cruz.
And then, counsel, if you want to give her some advice before we go.
Sure, Judge. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Interpreter, if you could tell her that I have an out-of-county information sheet for the out-of-county warrant. It's in English. If she could ask someone to help her understand it in Spanish, that would be wonderful.
Bueno, tengo una hoja relacionada con la orden de arresto, para pues, gente arrestada fuera del condado, pero está redactado papel en inglés, entonces yo le recomiendo que busque a alguien que le ayude a traducir el documento para que lo entienda.
okay, está bien.
That's because I don't have a Spanish version, unfortunately. I apologize.
Es que desafortunadamente no tengo una versión en español, le pido disculpas.
Está bien, no pasa nada. Okay.
That's
luck,
fine. Suerte.
Gracias. Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have Avalos?
Yes, this is it.
Avalos? Okay.
Okay, great. Get our service. What's your name, sir?
¿Cómo se llama usted, señor?
Aldo Avalos.
All right, you are charged with domestic violence, criminal damage. You
Bueno,
need-
a usted, señor, se le imputa el delito de violencia doméstica relacionado con daños a propiedad ajena.
And I am going to order you not to consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, not to commit any acts of domestic violence.
Bueno, voy a ordenar que usted no consuma nada de alcohol ni droga ilícita, ni tampoco que cometa ningún acto de violencia doméstica.
Report to your federal probation officer tomorrow about this incident.
Tiene que reportarse con su agente de libertad de prueba federal con respecto a este incidente.
And then I'm going to
Okay.
release you on your promise to appear in Sarita City Court
Bueno, señor, lo voy a dejar en libertad con su promesa de comparecer ante el Tribunal Municipal de Sabarita.
on October,
Okay.
October 15th at 8:30. If you don't appear, a warrant will issue for you.
Y la fecha de esa audiencia va a ser el 15 de octubre a las 8:30. Y si usted no comparece, van a emitir una orden de arresto en su contra.
Okay.
All right, then you're released, sir.
Muy bien, usted ya va a quedar en libertad, señor.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay. So do you guys think we have anybody else who speaks Spanish or you think we're done?
It's the last one.
That's
Okay,
the last
all
one.
right. Thanks. See you
Oh, Your Honor, you're welcome, Your Honor. But there was actually 3 on the list. There was an Oscar Sayas. I don't know. That was on my list. That was Spanish.
He refused. Thank you.
Oh, he refused. Oh, okay.
Okay, thanks. You can be
You bet.
excused. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I got one more misdemeanor, right?
Yes, that's right, Judge. It's Mr. Sam Jones.
Is that you, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
All right, you are charged from, let's see, so today with domestic violence, disorderly conduct, domestic violence, criminal damage, domestic violence, unlawful imprisonment, and domestic violence assault. And I am going to order you not to have any contact with Miss Jones, not to go back to her residence. No acts of domestic violence, no alcohol or illegal drugs, and I am gonna hold you on a $750 bond and appoint the city public defender's office. So your next court date will be on September 25th at 1:30. So if you post the bond, come to court. If you don't, we'll see you then on video.
Why am I being held?
Why are you being held? Because I'm worried that you won't come back to court and because of the nature of the allegations. So
Opposed?
I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm just gonna tell you. So that's what I'm doing. I'm holding those. Come back to court if you post, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, bond, you said. Or, well, what happens? It's collateral.
What's your name?
Alvarez?
All right, you're charged today with possession of narcotic drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, and tampering with physical evidence. Looks like he has a lot of other holds also. Thinking like a $5,000 bond.
To me, Judge, there is a probation hold anyway. So any bond for time period purposes, at least.
And I know the state's asking for a $25,000 bond, but I find the allegations in this charge and the fact that he's got other bonds, I think that a $5,000 bond will be appropriate and sufficient to hold him. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. No alcohol or illegal drugs, released to pretrial services if the bond is posted, and the preliminary hearing will be September 26th at 1:30. Mr. Alvarez. Then you got a bunch of misdemeanors. You got a new one for drug paraphernalia from today. And then you've got some other old ones, disorderly conduct, assault, drug paraphernalia. So I'm going to release you on those. If you get out of custody, come to court October 15th at 9:30. If you don't, we'll know you're in custody and then we'll look for you there. And that's it, Mr. Alvarez.
Sir?
Renaissance criminals.
Upstairs.
All had millions of files at different courthouses. What's your name?
Marisol. Rahu.
Right, the judge of possession of narcotic drug for sale, possession of drug paraphernalia, misconduct involving weapons, and counsel states asking for $100,000 bond. Did you want to be heard?
Yes, please, Your Honor. Do understand that she has a couple of misdemeanors, but the court should note that she is employed part-time as a waitress. Her mother can provide third-party custody and transport. And reading the interim, Your Honor, she did cooperate with law enforcement in the investigation. So given those factors, Your Honor, we are requesting release to pretrial, but if you're not inclined, then a $5,000. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
we're looking at somebody who reached and tried to pull a firearm on a police officer when she was in a full-on fentanyl knot, it looks like, in a vehicle. She had dealer quantities of blues with her. So we have a prohibited possessor with a firearm who unless the car drove itself to wherever it was, we don't know whether or not she was intoxicated and whether or not there's going to be a DUI actual physical control charge coming out. She's a 5 out of 5. She has prior felonies, a history of failing to appear, and it's looking at mandatory prison time. These are hundreds of pills of firearm and the willingness to pull it on a police officer on the part of somebody who shouldn't even own a gun to begin with.
Okay, so I am going to appoint the public defender to represent Mr. Rahu. What I noticed when I saw this was the amount of drugs and the firearm involved in that. I'm not sure that there aren't any other allegations, but I agree that there needs to be a bond. So no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms, $50,000 bond, pretrial services if the bond is posted September 26th at 1:30 is the preliminary hearing. And then ma'am, you've got a DUI back from 2021 that was never taken care of. So on that, I'm going to appoint the city public defender, hold you on a $1,000 bond. And the next court date will be September 24th at 1:45. Mr. Brooks, you are charged with 4 counts of domestic violence, aggravated harassment, domestic violence kidnapping, and domestic violence stalking. Counsel, the state's asking for a $250,000 bond. Did you want to be heard?
Yes, please, Judge. I suspect that Mr. Brooks is a defendant before Your Honor in city court, so I know Your Honor recognized him. Your Honor, given the facts alleged in the interim, in addition to those, we would like the court to consider that Mr. Brooks is employed part-time as a mover. His girlfriend can provide third-party custody and transport. For those 2 factors, Your Honor, we are requesting a $20,000 bond. We think that much is sufficient to secure his presence. Thank you.
Well, I think the problem is not securing Mr. Brooks's presence, but securing him. He doesn't seem to really pay attention to court orders. So I am going to appoint the public defender to represent Mr. Brooks, order him not to have any contact with Ms. Maldonado, no return to her residence or work, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence, no firearms. I released a pretrial if the bond is posted, and I'm going to hold him on a $75,000 bond. And the next court date will be September 26th.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if that is the court's final decision, please note that it's over state's objection. This man has made death threats, 4 counts of DV harassment, death threats to the defendant's children. The Form 4C is high risk.
I don't have a Form 4C, so if anyone sends them to me, maybe that would be useful, people. So the county attorney's office used to send them to us, and we don't get them anymore. So
Your Honor, I shall send it right now, if I may.
that would be great. Can't send it to me because I can't get my email, so you need to send it to the IA clerk.
Sending it to, I'm sorry, to whom shall I send it this
Alma,
evening?
to whoever you sent your recommendations to is where we would like them to come. I know Jeff used to send them to us.
All right, I am forwarding the 4C that I got, including that indicates very high risk.
All right, well, let me look at that before I make a final decision. Council, I'll tell you what it says if you don't have it. I assume the PD doesn't have it either. So,
As of right now, no, Judge, but I'm happy to take over if anything else.
okay.
Forgive me, could somebody put in the chat the exact email that I'm sending this to so I don't broadcast it over the airwaves?
Can you put that in the chat? What? You just got it?
Oh.
The email that you send your recommendations to, Mr. Poston, do you
Okay.
not send them?
I sent them. I'm gonna go ahead and sending it to the usual one right now.
Yeah.
I also sent it to Your Honor just in case.
I think it's JP initial appearance at sc.
That's what I sent. I would also note for the record, Your Honor, that we've got several cases, 3 additional Tucson City Court cases, one on probation, one he's out on bond on, and 2 others he's out on bond for. They're all the same victim.
Yeah,
This
I know.
one
I saw
individual-
it this afternoon, Mr. Poston. I'm really well aware of that, okay? Perhaps if you
Very
didn't
good.
ask for really high bonds on every single case, that you would be taken a little more seriously on the cases that you need to be asking a high bond on. Just consider that. So I'm waiting for that Form 4. We haven't seen it yet. Why don't you tell me how many factors there are? Oh, you got it? Okay, we'll print it out really quick for me to see. Thank you. All right, so council, it's got
Yes.
a yes on every question on the top tier, which is the tier that is ranked. And then it's got yeses on many of the questions on the bottom tier. There's one no, but everything else is a high risk, which like I said, I'm familiar with Mr. Brooks. So I'm based on that additional information. Do you want to be heard, defense counsel, or no?
Yes, please, Judge. I mean, if the court is willing to keep the same bond of 75,000, I just talked to him and he indicates he doesn't have the means to post that high of a bond. So I don't think it's necessary. It's just the defense's position that it's not necessary to increase the bond, but we will obviously defer to the court, Judge. Thank you.
Well, I was going to set 75,000 cash, which is what I'm still going to do. So I will leave it like that and note that the state asked for a $250,000 bond and set it for September 26th at 1:30.
Hello. Mr. Brown.
What's your name, sir?
Kenneth Brown.
All right, you are charged with aggravated assault, a felony. And counsel, the state's asking for a $5,000 bond. Did you want to be heard?
Yes, please, Judge. As to probable cause, I read the interim multiple times just to review it. And Your Honor, I think there is a reasonable dispute as to what assault was committed under 13-120382. I really don't see any facts which suggest that the victim was put in reasonable apprehension of imminent physical injury. I think the interim towards the end notes that everybody was within 5 feet of one another. So that although there is an allegation that Mr. Brown was holding on to a dangerous weapon, deadly instrument, there is really no evidence that he used it or tried to swing it or anything like that. So that's where the probable cause issues comes, I think.
Okay. Well, I think that there was enough for the reasonable apprehension of imminent physical injury. So I am going to uphold the probable cause statement, but I am not inclined to put a bond on Mr. Brown. Does the state want to be heard? He has no prior record. He didn't raise the bat, and I'm going to release him to pretrial, I believe. So, all right. So, Mr. Brown, I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. No contact with the victim, no return to wherever he lives, no firearms or other weapons. And I'm going to release you to pretrial services. So you need to report to them and then come back to court on October 7th at 1:30, or a warrant will issue for your arrest. You understand?
Will I be getting in my mail?
Good morning.
What's your name, sir?
David,
All right, Mr. Creel, you are charged with 3 counts of second-degree burglary, 4 counts of criminal damage, and 1 count of unlawful use of means of transportation. And counsel, the state's asking for a $75,000 bond. Did you want to be heard?
Yes, please, Judge. I think the court should. I'm not sure if does he have a probation hold?
Yes.
Okay, I was told he has a probation hold, Judge. I don't think his probation officer is going to allow him to get out of custody, but we don't know. He's not been in the show. So, Your Honor, and as to the unlawful means, I don't know if
I agree.
the bicycle was stolen.
Oh,
We don't know that.
Maybe crashing the Lexus or the Tesla into something. I didn't even notice that was a charge, but I just saw it now and I was like, yeah, I'm not sure that is. I think in Ms. Poston, unless you can give me a good argument, I think counsel's right. I think that unlawful means is kind of a weak thing. We didn't really talk about it.
I see it as weak also, Your Honor. I'm looking at the fact that he broke into a resident with the resident's home. The unlawful means is that's not a hill the state's going to die upon.
Okay, I'm going to dismiss that because I don't think that there is a good probable cause for that. Like I said, I didn't even notice that was charged when I was trying to read this pretrial probable cause. So I'll dismiss that one charge. And then what would you like to suggest as a reasonable bond, considering your client's already got an APO hold, counsel?
Judge, he has the APO hold on a class 4 felony. So given that that's the case, we would be asking for a $5,000 bond, cash or secure.
Okay. Yeah. He has a general delivery mailing address, and he's unemployed. And I know he caused a lot of damage from the allegations allegedly, but I think that with an APO hold, a $5,000 bond is enough to hold Mr. Carrillo on these cases. So that's what I'm going to do. And release to pretrial services if posted. No contact with the victims, no return to the incident location. Appoint the public defender, set it for September 26th at 1:30 for the preliminary hearing. And then, Mr. Carrillo, you have misdemeanor charges from January of last year. Counsel, if he wanted to just plead guilty to a drug paraphernalia from January 9th, 2023, and an obstruction refusal to give his true name, I would sentence him to time served. But if you think that's a bad idea for him with these charges pending, I won't offer it to him.
Judge, I mean, I'm not his attorney, but I'm happy to give him general information as to what a time served sentence would mean. So if you could just give me 5 seconds,
Yes,
Judge, I'll explain that.
I would love that.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
some good, some food in you. Step 3, you grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
We'll write it up for you.
Today's gonna be a good day.
Your Honor, he's kind of sleepy, but I think it's a yes.
Okay, so Mr. Carrillo, if you pled guilty to this 2023 refusing to give a true name and a drug paraphernalia, then I would just sentence you to time served, and then you wouldn't have to deal with any city court cases anymore after tonight. Are you awake enough to do this?
Yes.
Yes, and you're giving up your right to have a trial and plead not guilty if you do this. You understand? Yes? Okay. Then I'm going to sentence you to time served, plead you guilty to both of those, okay? And we'll be done with the city court case. You understand that you're pleading guilty, or are you sleeping through it?
That's it.
Okay, all right, that's what we'll do. Okay, all right, thanks, counsel.
You did put the city stuff is there. Good luck to you.
Your Honor, Oscar Elias refused.
He's got a lot of files, so we just continue until the next day. You've got a lot of.
See you.
Okay. What's your name, sir?
Elliott.
All right, Mr. Elliott, you are charged with domestic violence, aggravated domestic violence, aggravated assault, 2 counts. And the state's asking for a $150,000 bond. And counsel, did you want to be heard?
Yes, please, Judge. I was reviewing the interim complaint, and it does mention the first incident with the vehicle where he was inside his mother's vehicle. There's not a lot of jurisdictional facts that are pled. I know the complaint at the very beginning says everything occurred in Pima County, so I think it does pass the probable cause statement, and obviously there will be more disclosure. But Your Honor, we understand he has a bunch of misdemeanors, but he's lived in Tucson 8 years, and given those factors, Judge, I know the victim is objecting. So if you're not inclined to release, Judge, we would be asking for a $10,000 bond. Thank you.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Who is this?
Your Honor, this is
Oh,
State Neil Poston.
Okay, I didn't see you lighting up. Yes, Mr. Poston.
Your Honor, we're looking at 2 incidents where apparently he smacked his own mother across the face with a computer tablet, causing her eye to swell to the point where she temporarily lost vision. And another time he decides to push his mom down into the hallway of her home, causing her to fall on a vase, causing some lacerations. And while mom was on the ground, the defendant put his arm on a victim's neck, making it difficult for her to breathe. We've got a history of DV misdemeanors. We've got strangulation, impeding of breathing, a history of incredibly violent assaults, and it looks like he's a risk against his own mom, hence the $150,000 bond, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent Mr. Elliott. No contact with Louisa Elliott, no return to her residence, no guns, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence. And I agree with Mr. Poston. These seem to be very high-risk cases, plus a very vulnerable victim. So I am going to hold the defendant on a $100,000 bond. Pretrial services have posted, and the 26th of September at 1:30 will be the preliminary hearing.
Yeah.
Your Honor, was there a city court date? I don't think so.
No.
Okay. Good luck to you.
Okay, what's your name, ma'am?
Friend.
Okay, I have a warrant for your arrest out of Maricopa County charging you from October of 2023 with possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of narcotic drugs, and a failure to appear for a status conference. And, Mr. Poston, I don't.
That would be a typo on that one, Your Honor.
Okay. Say,
Looking at the drug case out of Maricopa, and then we have the current offense. State has concerns about flight risk because of lack of community ties. No known residents. We have no input from the boyfriend / victim.
but that's a misdemeanor, right? I don't have anything felony besides the warrant.
I
don't have
agree, Your Honor. Based on further review, state would be comfortable 2,500.
Okay. So what is the? Okay. So,
Judge Million.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I think I'm missing the interim complaint out of Pima
There
County on
isn't.
this one.
The
Oh,
interim
oh.
complaint, that's what I'm saying. So I'm just deciding on a $500 bond on a warrant to Maricopa County. And I'm deciding to release her and tell her to contact Maricopa County is what I'm trying to figure out. But I think that's what I'm gonna do. It's a $500 bond on a drug case out of Maricopa County. So I am going to tell the defendant to contact Maricopa County Superior Court by Friday, which will be the 20th. So ma'am, or the warrant will reissue for you, okay?
Thank you.
So I'm releasing you on that. You also have a domestic violence charge. That is a misdemeanor that we will talk about now really briefly. Your misdemeanor domestic violence charge is disorderly conduct and drug paraphernalia. And I am going to order you not to commit any acts of domestic violence
Yes, ma'am.
and no contact with Mr. Holden and no alcohol or illegal drugs. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then your next court date on the misdemeanor is, oops, I gave it away, hold on a sec. Is just October 22nd at 1:30. If you do it, a warrant will issue for your arrest, okay?
Thank you.
All
And
right.
Judge, this was city court?
That's city court, yep.
Okay. So, you know,
Okay. Are none of these co-defendants? I'm trying to figure out if there's. So they're not co-defendants? Okay. Okay, so you gave them different lawyers, but we don't have to worry about like me setting the same dates or anything? Okay. All right. All right, we're done with that, with her.
Skydock, right? You're being released.
And Your Honor, on number 13, that should be PTS, not what it read on the screen.
Okay, okay. So he's released to pretrial services though, so you're not asking for any kind of bond considering he's got a new.
Are we looking at Mr. Janady or Mr. Garcia?
Garcia.
Forgive me. State's seeking 7,500.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Garcia, you are charged with possession of a dangerous drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of narcotic drugs. And it looks like Mr. Garcia is eligible for steps, smart, whatever it's called now. I've lost my script, but he's eligible for it. So that is a diversion type program, sir. Are you interested in the diversion program for your drug charges?
Yes, I am. And I just wanted to let you know that I do have an intake scheduled at another Hope tomorrow.
Okay, so actually he's already enrolled in steps. So can we give it to him again, guys? Is that how this works? Yes?
Judge, and if he's terminated, then I think the judge that is handling the previous smart case lets him know that he's being terminated.
So we can, do we have to give him another steps hearing and stuff? Yes?
I believe so, unless the state is saying no, because this is the state's
We're
program.
not-
and the state.
I'm not saying no at this time. The state's not saying no, Your Honor.
Okay.
Well, we thank the state, Judge.
All right, but the state is saying that he would be eligible for no bond, and they are offering instead a $7,500 bond. So what's your choice, counsel? 7,500?
Judge, I know the state is offering a bond. I understand the argument, and I understand Your Honor sets that bond. But Your Honor, I just want to say something in mitigation, which is this is someone who's already enrolled in steps, is trying. He has a screening scheduled tomorrow, and sounds like he just came to a roadblock where he relapsed, maybe. So given that that's the case, we would be asking for $1,000 bond. But I fully concede when the state offers a bond when someone's no bond eligible, the court is right. We should just take it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your argument, but I don't think I have a choice. I think if he, if he's either no bond or if the state wants to agree to a lesser bond, then you guys agree to it, then I can ignore the no bond thing. So to me, I treat it as a stipulation. So that's what I'm going to do. Hold the defendant on a $7,500 bond. Pretrial services have posted. So now, guys, what do I do with these dates? I have a smart hearing of September 23rd and a PH of September 26th. Is this when we do the 45-day thing?
We will waive, Judge, if the court's comfortable with that. I'm happy to waive the PH date. But the only thing I think that's going to change is if he might be held in custody for a long, long time if I wait.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I'm going to appoint the legal defender. Let's save these dates. And if we get in trouble, you can blame it on me because I never know when they're supposed to be switched. Okay? So I will leave these short dates of September 26th for the PH, September 23rd for the smart hearing, appoint the legal defender and a $7,500 bond.
Why didn't I get that?
So
And Judge, given the next case coming up, the state's going to say same again in lieu of no bond.
Okay. All right, so you're excused. Oops. All right, what's your name, sir?
Salvatore Janady.
All right, you are charged with possession of dangerous drugs for sale, possession of dangerous drug, possession of drug paraphernalia. And while you would be eligible for a no bond hold, the state is recommending $7,500 instead. So I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. I am going to order you no alcohol or illegal drugs, release to pretrial if you post that $7,500 bond, and set it for a preliminary hearing on September 26th at 1:30.
yeah, the smart court date, I believe, was the same.
Oh, it didn't have, it wasn't checked smart court. Was it supposed to be smart court?
I apologize. I may have read that wrong.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Mr. Janady should be smart court eligible. My
Okay.
apologies.
All right, let me check the date on it. And yes, it'll be the same, the 23rd. All right, thanks.
Let's use.
All right, what's your name, sir?
Lopez.
All right, Mr. Lopez, you're charged with possession of narcotic drugs, possession of dangerous drugs. And
Oh, I'm so sorry, Judge. I just noticed something on Mr. Janody, who was here before.
okay,
It's a sales charge. That's why Mr. Poston is right. It's a sales charge. That's why it's not smart eligible, but I actually had a probable cause argument on the sales. So,
are you, so, you want to go back to Mr. Janady then?
sure. And this is me, Judge. I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, do you want to get Mr. Janody?
Give me back, Mr. Janady. This is why I only work Sundays, people.
Wait, did we see Janady or was it Garcia? The last one. The last one was Janady. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Janady, right?
Yes, Mr. Janady.
Okay.
Wait, I couldn't hear the clip from you.
I mean,
Yes. Yeah, I guess if I don't put a date, then it won't let me approve it. So yes, please do. Thanks. Okay, back to Mr. Janady, and let me find the dangerous drugs for sale argument. Go ahead.
okay, Judge, I think the dangerous drug quantity that is alleged is 0.54 grams. Again, the court should note that that was never tested, and the charge is dangerous drug for sale.
Ah,
So they just found M30s, but then they didn't charge narcotic drug for sale. So then it would have had probable cause. So there's no probable cause for either the dangerous drug simple possession because no testing, and obviously no probable cause for dangerous drug for sale because 0.54 is not the dangerous, is not a sales quantity. And then what we are left with is paraphernalia. So if the court were to dismiss the sales and the regular possession charge, the lesser included essentially, then we're left with paraphernalia, which makes him eligible for smart. That's the argument.
okay. We didn't, I didn't really think about that. So the 0.54 grams would not make him eligible, but they probably meant it to be them 30 pills, we think, is what we think. I'm not saying that I'm going to switch it, counsel. I wouldn't do that. But, okay.
But yes, they probably,
Judge, what I'm seeing here is an absolute, there's quite a few smaller baggies read indicia of sales. Quite a few tutors, again, read indicia of sales. What I next see is multiple kits containing, I mean, it looks like he had several M30, for lack of a better term, and not to be glib, starter kits.
Right, but
Multiple pill pressures.
those would have been narcotic drugs for sale. And what counsel is saying is it charged him with dangerous drugs for sale, and there wasn't enough meth for that. So
I will leave it to the court's discretion.
all right. So why do you think I should dismiss? Well, I would dismiss the sale charge, right, counsel? And then that would leave him with the narcotic drugs and it would leave him with the paraphernalia. And would that automatically make him eligible for steps? And that's what you're saying?
if the state offers it, the state can always withdraw steps at any time because it's a diversion like that. So if Mr. Poston now says, no, never mind, I'm not going to give you smarter steps, then that's the state's choice and we have to divert.
Okay. So, Mr. Poston, for right now, I agree. I think it was cited wrong. I'm going to dismiss the dangerous drugs for sale. Do you want to offer smart, or do you think that you'll?
Yes, Your Honor. And I congratulate counsel. That was a beautifully argued.
It was a good catch that I should have caught, but okay, yes. So right now, Mr. Janady, those are going to be dismissed, the for sale charge. It could be refiled, so, but right now I am going to dismiss it because I agree with your counsel that if there wasn't enough there for the sale. So, all right.
No, did you have some more dates? We just
Same dates, the 23rd, the 26th, but now it's eligible for it actually. So, okay.
Now the record is clear, Judge. Thank you for letting me do
I
that.
appreciate it. That's what we get for summarizing. All right, so this is Mr. Lopez, and what I have is a possession of narcotic drug, possession of narcotic paraphernalia, and the state is saying that for those, he is eligible for diversion program, the SMART or the STEPS program. Would you like to be considered for the diversion program, Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Yes, so I will appoint the legal defender to represent you. I will release you to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs. The steps, the diversion hearing will be September 23rd at 9, and the preliminary hearing will be October 7th at 1:30. So you need to come to both of those, contact your attorney, and stay in touch with pretrial services, okay? Then, Mr. Lopez, you have a warrant out of justice court for something that I can't quite read. I don't know what this is. It is a failure to comply with a sentence, it looks like. So on that one, I'm going to release you, and you need to come back to court in justice court on September 26th at 2 p.m. Or a warrant will issue for you on that justice court case, okay? Then one more, you have a city court domestic violence case. That is from today. You're charged with domestic violence, disorderly conduct, domestic violence, criminal damage, domestic violence preventing the use of a telephone, and refusal to give your true name. And let's see. Hold on a second on this one. All right, I am going to order you not to commit any acts of domestic violence, no alcohol or illegal drugs, and that one is going to be set in city court on October 22nd at 1:30. If you don't appear, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, then you're released on that one also.
Bow down, please.
What's your name, sir?
Michael Neymark?
All right, you are charged with possession of dangerous drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of narcotic paraphernalia, and narcotic drugs and possession of narcotic paraphernalia. And the state is offering you an opportunity to complete a diversion program. Are you interested in that?
Yes.
All right, so I will appoint the legal advocate's office to represent you. No alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to release you to pretrial services. You need to report to them, and you need to come to court. One for the diversion hearing on September 23rd at 9 o'clock, and then October 7th at 1:30 for your preliminary hearing, or warrants could issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes.
All right, and you're released with those conditions.
This one back.
Okay, so what's your name, sir?
Josie William Ruben Helpman.
you are charged with aggravated driving under the influence, endangerment, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And is he not on release to in another case, you all, or is he?
Yes.
I think there is a smart court matter, Judge.
Okay,
One moment, Judge. Let me double check if I may.
okay, because he's got a preliminary hearing set for 10/10.
One moment. And just to be clear, this is Mr. Nelson.
It is.
Yes, Judge. Yes, this should be a no bond, unfortunately for the defendant.
Okay. All right. It looks like it is a no bond hold, counsel. So I will appoint the public defender to represent Mr. Nelson. No contact with the victim, no return to the incident location, no alcohol or illegal drugs, don't drive without a valid license. The bond hearing will be September 20th at 2:30, and the preliminary hearing will be September 26th at 1:30. And Mr. Nelson also has a misdemeanor charge, shoplifting, resisting arrest. I'm gonna release you on that, sir. And if you're out of custody, you need to come back to court October 16th at 8:30. And if you're not, they will note to the record that you're in jail and they will find you and figure out what to do with you on that misdemeanor, okay? And that's it. What's your name?
Christopher Salcido?
All right, you are charged with possession of a dangerous drug, possession of a narcotic drug. It looks like you're eligible for a diversion program for those charges that could be dismissed. Would you like to be interested in that?
Sure.
So,
Your Honor, the state has concerns about the NCA FTA, and he's an NVCA yes, and a 6 on a 5 on the NCA FTA, hence the request for 15,000 on the bond.
okay, what's the defense position?
Your Honor, I think if I'm right, I'm going to double check, but Mr. Salcido perhaps the last conviction is from 2019. I mean, the commission date is 2019. Some time has passed. He's lived a crime-free lifestyle for a little bit. Your Honor, I do see the NVCA flag. Given that this is a smart eligible offense, Judge, I would be requesting release. But if you're absolutely not inclined, a nominal $1,000 bond. He's also employed part-time as a welder, and then he's lived in Tucson 15 years.
Okay. Yeah, he has got a high risk assessment as far as failures to appear and follow through. But given the charges, I am going to hold the defendant on a $2,500 bond, pretrial services if posted, appoint the public defender, no alcohol or illegal drugs. The smart court hearing will be September 23rd at 9 a.m. and the preliminary hearing will be September 26th. What's your name?
Sodari.
All right, you're charged with possession of narcotics, possession of drug paraphernalia. And the state's asking for $5,000 bonds, but Miss Sodari is eligible for a diversion program. Are you interested in that, ma'am?
Yes.
And what's the state's position on the bond? I mean, the defense position in the bond.
So, Your Honor, Ms. Sodari does not have any criminal history, felony criminal history whatsoever. I don't see anything under the misdemeanor section on the pretrial services report, but I'm sure the state has more information than I do. For some reason, she has an NCA and FTA scale of 5, but yeah, Your Honor, I really don't understand why she's only 20 years old. And then, so we would be asking for release today because she can be screened and she can make use of the diversion program more well in a much better fashion if she's out of custody and meet with providers and whatnot. So we would be asking for release today, Judge, given her age and lack of any criminal history, as indicated by the judge.
All right, I tend to agree with you, counsel. I will appoint the legal defender to represent Ms. Sodari. No alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to release you to pretrial services, especially since you don't live in the city. You need to be reporting to them. The diversion hearing will be September 23rd at 9 o'clock. And the preliminary hearing will be October 7th at 1:30. So you need to be in court for those or warrants will issue for your arrest.
Thank you.
You also have a misdemeanor shoplifting charge and possession of prescription-only drugs. So I'm going to order you not to go back to the incident location. No alcohol or illegal drugs. That one you don't have a lawyer on right now, so you need to keep track of your date. October 16th at 8:30 in Justice Court for that one. If you don't appear, a warrant will issue for your arrest. Okay, ma'am? And you're released on those. That one also. Okay. Of course, we'll save the best for last here.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Good evening, Mr. Wagner. You are charged with class 4 felony robbery from today. And counsel, the state is asking for $100,000 bond. Did you want to be heard?
Yes, please, Judge. Your Honor, we understand that Mr. Wagner has 3 prior convictions. The last one, the commission date is 2018. So relatively a reasonable amount of time has lapsed since then. Your Honor, he's a lifelong resident of Tucson, so he doesn't have any problem attending court. Your Honor, there is an allegation that he made threats to use violence, but which is serious, I will concede, but no actual violence was used. But it's still, there is probable cause for the robbery, Judge. So based on those factors, we will be requesting a $7,000. Thank you.
Your Honor. This man has 7 prior failures to appear. 5 in city court, 2 in justice court. He has a 2018 conviction for armed robbery with a deadly weapon. He's a 2015 trafficking stolen goods, twin cases actually, for which he was put on probation in full. He has a history of assaultive behavior, and per the interim complaint, he walked right out the door of a establishment with merchandise, and when confronted holding the merchandise with the inventory control tag, he thought it best to threaten the clerk with a can of pepper spray. So we believe he is a threat. He is a consummate and repeated shoplifter, and now he's shown that he still poses the threat the court found when they convicted him of robbery in 2018.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Postman. All right, I will appoint the legal defender to represent Mr. Wagner. No return to the incident location, no contact with the victims, no firearms or other weapons, no alcohol or illegal drugs. I find Mr. Wagner is homeless, and so setting a bond that high, I don't think would be useful. I'm going to hold him on a $25,000 bond, pretrial services if posted. And the preliminary hearing will be September 26th at 1:30. Then, Mr. Wagner, you've got warrants out of Justice Court for a drug paraphernalia. I'm going to release you on that. If you're out of custody, come back to court October 16th at 8:30. If you're not, then they will see that you're in custody and they'll take care of it then. Also, you got another one out of Justice Court, another drug paraphernalia, same thing. Come to court if you're out of custody. If you're not, they'll see you on video probably. And then you've got a misdemeanor in city court, several pages of misdemeanors in city court, failures to appear for the same kind of things, criminal trespass, drug paraphernalia, shoplifting. So don't return to any of the incident locations. I'm going to set them for October 15th at 9 o'clock. And if you are out, come to court. If you're not, we will see that you've got a felony hold. And that is it. All right. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good night. Thank you, Mr. Poston. Leo.
Are we off the record? Good night. Thank you.